I made $17,826 swing trading this strategy. I'm going to show you how I did it right here. If you come over to my screen, you'll notice that Zim has had a very wild ride over the last 4 years, dating back to pre-COVID and then into COVID. They really spiked all through 2021. They're back down. But what prompted me to get into this trade? It was something very, very specific. Now, before I even start looking at stochastics or volume, which did set up for me, I want to show you what I really noticed. Look right here. You notice, if I'm just drawing this line as thick as I can with this tool, it just kept getting stopped at this level. Now, let's zoom out a little bit further. Let me clear that line and zoom out further, and let's go and see their all-time history. So this is dating back to 2021. Look at this. If we go, here's that line I drew. You had a peak there. You had that same peak here. Then right in here, you had a big box of consolidation that pretty much lasted about 3 months. And then let's go all the way back in here. Look at this. It's kind of the peak right there. You had a bottom trough right. So all of this was just kind of telling me something. We're probably not going to get above that level. We're probably not going to go anywhere up here. So I took that gamble, that thought. So let's go and zoom into what we were doing. Now, when this started to climb up, I told people in my community, I said, this is a stock that I trade frequently. I said, guys, this is not going to last. I think we were right around in here. And I said, guys, if it gets up to here, we are going to go short on this. Now, admittedly, I did break my own rules on this one, but I broke them for a very specific reason, and it's that line. So I'm going to draw that line one more time. I knew that with this type of volume down here, this wishy-washy volume, guys, if you're going to go and make a charge and push through this level and get up here and sustain up here and keep going higher, you better have, I'm going to draw it in blue buying volume that is all the way through here, above average volume every single day for probably 2 weeks straight to push you through that level, because this is a ridiculously strong resistance point. You didn't have that. So I said, you know what? We don't have the volume. I'm actually going to throw a short position on right here. And you're probably looking at this and saying, that doesn't make any sense. And yes, I know that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because I'm buying a green engulfing candlestick. I'm selling short on a green engulfing candlestick, but I was so confident in my conviction, so confident in the patterns that I have learned over the last 21 years that this thing was going to turn around. So looking at this, had an ugly face pattern. An ugly face pattern was formed on that day that I decided to go short. What typically happens after ugly face patterns? This happens. Now, this was a good learning experience for people that were watching this trade. Because look, the next day, it came down a little bit. This day here, everyone was like, oh my God, you got it right. I'm like, guys, we're not out of the woods yet. We still don't have our stochastic turning down. Volume is still buying. There's a very good chance that this snaps back on us. And what happened? Well, it did. It snapped back hard. This thing went from about $24 to over $26 in a matter of 2 days. There were people that were panicking in here that were watching me make this trade. Was I panicking? No. And there's a reason that you don't panic. Why? Because you're confident in your patterns. Guys, when you see ugly face patterns, if you don't have the volume to back it, it's not going to work. That's just how it works. It's not going to work. And that's exactly what happened. You can just be confident that it's just a snapback. It's going to come back down. And what happened a couple of days later? Trickle down, huge engulfing candlestick down, then a big gap down. And it came down to where? That's the real question here. What was I looking at to exit with this thing? Well, there was consolidation in here, you can see. Consolidation in here. Consolidation in here. Consolidation in here, and consolidation that we had happen. You can see this was a range-bound stock, and it was just a matter of identifying that pattern. So your range was really here to here. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go for a swing trade, and I'm going to short it right in this range. And that's exactly what happened. So when all of that set up, we started to get this move down. Notice what happened. Selling volume started coming in. The trend got into the sweet spot, just like I had wanted. We got a great engulfing candlestick. If you didn't go short here, you didn't go short up in here because that wouldn't really make sense. But if you went short here, you still had a really, really nice trade. Really nice trade. This was about a 17.8% gain on the trade overall, which was great. So when it came down here, I said, you know what? I'm actually going to take profits somewhere in here on this candle. Why? Because it was getting down to that consolidation channel. Now, some of you are probably looking at this saying, well, why didn't you wait for it to come down here? Well, I didn't wait for it to come down there because I said, you know what? Let's see what happens in subsequent days. So I took profits here. Added more shares in here, took profits here. It just went sideways for a few days. And then when this thing spiked up the other day, I said, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's just exit this trade. So could I have made more gains if I just took everything out of the position down here? Yes, but I really did think that we were going to get a little bit of a move further down. That didn't happen. It rebounded a little bit. And that's just how it goes sometimes. But you can see that this trade was completely made off of a pattern identification and being confident in understanding those patterns that I've been learning over the past 2 decades. So if you've watched more than one video, you've probably heard me talk about the community and the power of the community. This is one of my stocks. So this is one of the stocks that I encourage the community to trade. They have given me pretty much every other trade that I've discussed on this channel that has been gone from Micron to Moderna to AMD. But Zim is mine. Zim is one that I absolutely love. And this was a trade that I identified on a live stream, and I was able to, and other people were able to get into the trade if they chose to do so on their own. And then people executed it completely differently than me. I just did a live stream before I'm recording this video, and there was somebody that said, oh yeah, I exited that trade on Friday. Great job. I didn't, but great job. So you kind of learn to, and this was a guy named Hans. He said, listen, he's been doing this for 2 years. He knew what he was looking for. He saw this consolidation channel right here and said, listen, it's probably going to get sucked back into these moving averages. Let me clear this out. You can see these moving averages here. It's probably going to get sucked back, and it did get sucked back. It's something that I was willing to take a gamble on, something he wasn't. He put more money in his pocket than I did for this trade as far as percentages go. And listen, this is just the power of the community. You can learn from other people. So right now I have a couple more spots that are available for $29 a month through the Patreon. The link is in the description below. I encourage you to join it. You will absolutely love this, and you'll see out there are people making money using these very simple strategies. So guys, I tested 7 other strategies against swing trading in the way that I do it. Click this video right here. You're gonna love it.